and we'll work over them tonight. The nice difference between moon sals and sun sals is there's a lot less hands down on the mat, so a lot less stress and pressure on your wrists, on your shoulders, so it's a nice change. They're pretty hippie, lots of lunges, wide leg postures, and the other thing is that really for the majority of the practice the front of your mat is a long side rather than a short side. So we tend to move across the mat rather than forwards and backwards. Okay, so before we go into them, we'll give our upper body a little bit of love so it doesn't feel neglected. So just come to a comfortable seated position. I'm a big kneel fan, but you could sit however works for you. Just bring your hands onto your lap and give your shoulders a nice big roll in each direction. Let's go the other way. And then just leaving one hand in your lap, roll your head across to the other shoulder. And that might feel like enough. Or you could bring the hand of the shoulder you've gone to up onto the side of your head. Or across to the opposite shoulder. Release, roll your chin down across your chest and over to the other side. Pause there, or explore bringing your hand up onto the side of your head or across to the opposite shoulder. And then bring yourself back to the middle and let your chin start to drop. Bring a little bit of engagement into the belly so we don't round the back, and really drop your chin into your chest. If you want a little extra here, you could bring your hands across the back of your head and add weight. Try not to pull, but just add weight. Breathe into that stretch, sneaking down through the neck, into the shoulders, into the upper back. And let's release the hands down. We'll take a few seated twists. So arms nice and long. As you inhale, lift them all the way up. Maybe look up to stretch the throat. And as you exhale, twist and open one way. Hands come down, eyes go behind you. Inhale, back up through the middle. Exhale, twist out the other way. Let's do 2 more each side. Last one. Coming back to the middle, both hands up, and then bring one hand down, lift up tall through the other side, and then lean over. Try not to throw your hips off, just try and lengthen and lift and lean. You can walk that grounded hand away if that feels good. Maybe even dropping to your elbow. Okay, inhale back to the middle. Both arms up, and then bring your hand down and lean over. Bring yourself back to the top. Turn the palms out and bring the hands down. Alright, so I'm going to stay this way on my mat so I'm facing you guys. You can practice for now, whatever direction feels right for you. So we're going to come into our Malasana. So bring your hands down in front of you, tuck your toes, take your feet and knees to maybe hip width, and then start to walk your hands back in as you start to roll over your feet and sit your heels down. Now, I'm aware that I probably made that look quite easy. It is quite available to me. What we want to make sure when we're doing our Malasana is that we're not in a toe stand. Okay, so if you stay up on your toes and you can't get your heels down, but your knees let you close the gap between your calves and thighs, then you have 2 options. You can either lift your bum more so your feet stay flat, or you can sit deeper and bring the floor up to meet your feet, either with a cushion, a bolster, a blanket, the edge of your mat, whatever works, okay? It's not that they're wrong, one is wrong and one is right, it's that they're different. And so when you're trying to do one, you want to make sure you're not doing the other, okay? So finding your best efforts tonight for flat feet, knees out wide, and then you can add a wedge with your arms, elbows, or outstretched arms, whatever feels good. So Malasana is kind of like our downward dog in our moon cells. It's the middle pose. We come to the middle of our mat in our Malasana and then head off to the other side doing what we're doing. And we come in and out of it with a side lunge. It's kind of unelegant, and if you've got a grippy mat and socks on, it's going to be even less elegant. And you can find however you like here. You might just want to like shuffle out wider and then sort yourself out for your side squat. I'm not going to do that today. Today I'm going to lift myself up into a higher squat and then take a step out and bend into my knee. You can do whatever works for you. You could have your hands down, you could stay quite high, maybe resting your elbow onto your thigh, whatever you fancy. If you want to pull your toes up, make sure you keep your thigh engaged. We want to avoid feeling the pull in the ends of the muscle, in the tendons, in the joints. Let's come back up. Check out the other side. Okay, bring yourself back to the middle. Just have a little sway here. So this is not the next pose that follows these, but as we're in the middle of our mats now, goddess pose is our second and penultimate pose. So keep your feet probably like double hips, toes forwards to begin with, and just draw the belly in, lift the pelvic floor, try and keep yourself as tall and straight as you can, and sit into a nice squat here. Little bounce if you like, or you can stay still. Keep your hands on your thighs if you want. And then we're going to turn the toes out a bit. What you want to make sure is that your knees can go with your toes and they don't fall in, okay? So there's no point having your feet out at 180 if your knees won't keep up, or if you end up like a duck with your chest forwards and your bum out and you can't sit back up straight, okay? So find what you need. And then final pointers, if you have time during the salutation to focus on this, is that eventually you want to try and keep your knees on top of your ankles. So rather than having your feet really wide and your knees nowhere near, or your feet really narrow in like a plie, we're trying to go for vertical shins. Okay? Everything's in, breathe. And then the traditional goddess arms are cactus arms. Okay? So this is a good place for us to go from side to side now for our top postures. So triangle. Probably not commonly practiced in lots of Hatha classes. It's in Rocket all the time. You're going to have a short end of your mat where you start and you finish, and you'll finish one round at the other end. So don't overthink it, but try and keep one long side of your mat as the front and one long side as the back. Try not to find yourself facing different ways, because you'll get yourself in a bit of a muddle. Okay? So from your goddess, you'll turn one lot of toes to the short end of your mat. I usually go the toes nearest where I just came from. That makes sense for me. And then the other foot, you're going to turn to like a half turn. So you've got your heel behind your toes. Now you might want to block, you might not. Don't force the front leg straight, but pull your hip back to help the straightness happen, and then try and pull the other hip on top. So we're really trying to spin the body so it's flat in front of us, okay? You can open the arms out wide, and then explore tipping into your triangle here. Don't force your legs straight. Don't rush to bring your hand to the floor, especially if you fall forwards. Just find what you need. Good. Press into your feet. Lift yourself up. Let's go the other way. Okay, so just adjust your feet. And then find your way, opening up that top side. Breathing. Bring yourself back up. And then we will begin. So those are the kind of ones that I just wanted to give you a tiny little refresh on. Looks like my head's not in the screen. I'm not even very tall. Hold on. Quick little refresh on. And the rest of them will kind of make sense. We'll do a really slow version first, probably like 3 or 4 breaths for each posture. And then we'll do a couple more with me talking and leading you through at a slightly faster pace. Please feel free to move at your own speed and add any other modifications you can think of that I'm not suggesting. And then I'll chuck in like a few extra bits and pieces. And then if anyone has any questions about anything, you can put them in the chat. And then we'll finish up with a nice chill session, okay? So we're going to start at a short end, but don't think of this as the front of your mat, okay? So pick a short end wherever you like. Standing with your feet either together or slightly apart in your mountain pose. From here, let's connect to our breath. Now, Ujjayi breathing is sometimes called ocean breath, as well as victorious breath, but ocean breath is my favourite, and that gentle sound of the waves crashing in the back of your throat, making your breath louder than your mind as you practice this moving meditation. So if you still have access to your nose at this time of year, well done. Breathe in and out through your nose, gently restricting the air on the way out, creating that audible breath inside of your head as well as outside. And try and find 4 counts in, 4 counts out. Next inhale, let's take the arms up. Either pressing the palms together or interlacing the fingers as you exhale, lean one way. Inhale, back to the middle. And exhale the other way. Let's go again to the first side. Inhale through the middle. Exhale. And let's take a few breaths here. So just pay attention. How have you found your bend? Have you thrown your hips out? Or are you able to stay grounded in the feet, reach through the hands, find length in the spine, and bend from the waist, not at the waist, if that makes sense. So lifting up and out, rather than throwing your hips off center. Inhale back through the middle. Let's go the other way for a few breaths. And this is how each round begins and ends. Inhale back to center. We're going to pick a foot, lift it up, and step it out wide, adjusting everything for goddess. So take your time, because we've got nice long time for this first round in particular, to find your goddess, okay? Bottom on, belly on, legs on, maybe extra arms. So remember what I said about choosing which way you go so you don't get confused. We've come from one end of the mat, that's where I triangle to first, okay? So from our goddess, turn your front toes forwards and bring your back foot to the half angle, ready for your triangle. Pull the hips back, reach forwards and twist into your triangle pose. There's lots of options for this top arm. You could wrap it down behind you. You can reach it forwards. You can reach the bottom one forwards as well if you like, but that's very extra. Breathe into it. Okay, so from triangle, we'll do pyramid. So bring your hands to frame your front foot and turn your back foot forward. You want to get that back foot flat, so you might have to shorten your stance. Soften the front knee a little so you can really connect to all the muscles in your legs. And then start to draw that front hip back, keeping the fold from your hips, keeping your spine nice and long. Options for your arms in your pyramid: you can take your hands back, you can take them away. You can do reverse prayer hands behind your back if you like. But don't lose your form. Pyramid is not straight legs, and a round back nowhere near flat. from here. Let's bring the hands down. Options, you can either shift your weight into your front foot, lift the back foot a little and step it back, bringing the knee down for your lunge, or you can just bring the knee down and adjust everything as you need. Draw the belly in, and then maybe you bring your hands up to your side, keep your belly in to protect your lumbar, or maybe you come right up with the shoulders, press your tailbone forwards and down. Maybe you lift the arms. Maybe you find a nice deep back bend. Whatever works for you. You can lift the back knee if you like. I'm going to suggest that you do lift the back knee to spin into your side lunge from here. So lift the back knee, spin into your side lunge, and then explore the depth. Sink down, maybe lift the toes or stay high, whatever you like. Lots of options for your side lunge. Lift yourself up, wiggle your feet in, and come down into your garland pose, your Malasana, your yogi squat. So you might want a bolster under your bum, you might want something under your heels. You might be fine as you are. Just try and get your feet to be in contact with something rather than just be wobbling around on your toes. Okay, let's lift up, wiggle out wider, and into the other knee for your other side lunge. So for me, when I teach it, I usually work left to right across my mat. It just makes sense to me. Just try not to overthink it. Just try and flow. So we're going to lift back up into the side lunge. And then spin that other foot forwards now as we come into our low lunge. So belly on, explore, whatever extras work for you. Maybe lift the back knee again if that feels good. Good. Bring the hands down. Options again are to stand onto that front foot, lift the back foot a little, and then place it down, drawing the hips back for your pyramid. Or you can just find your way up to your pyramid, however works. Focus on the length of your front leg rather than the straightness, and it will all become the same thing eventually. Pay attention to where the stretch is happening. If it's all butt stretch, bend your knee a bit and try and shift it further into the belly of the muscle. Okay, so from our pyramid, options here. You could come up, adjust your feet, and then come down into triangle. Or if it feels okay for you from your pyramid, you can turn the back foot to that angle and then twist the other arm up to find your triangle pose. Remember, the arm options can be behind the back, forwards, both arms forwards, whatever you like. Bring yourself all the way up and find your goddess. Adding extra arms that work for you, paying attention to your strength to create the stretch without destabilizing anything. And we're going to finish at the other end of the mat. So let's step onto that foot as you bring them both together. Use a big inhale to bring the arms up. And as you exhale, lean one way. Inhale back to the middle. And exhale the other way. Inhale back to the middle. Exhale your hands to heart. And you have done one moonsault. Okay, so we're going to work a little bit faster now. I won't give quite as many options. You can just pick and choose what works for you. Just try and keep some engagement in the lower belly, in the pelvic floor, and pay attention to where your pelvis is. The problem with a lot of these movements is that we can quite easily tip the hips forwards, and that puts a lot of pressure in the lower back, okay? Hip stretches and stuff are really good for your lower back if you pay attention to your alignment, okay? So we're going to go from this end back to the other end. Standing tall. Let's inhale, lift everything up nice and long. And exhale, take it to one side. Inhale, back up through the middle. And exhale the other way. foot. Let's triangle. Turn your toes, sort your feet, pull the hips under and roll that top side right up to the ceiling. Bring your hands down, frame your front foot, turn your back one forwards, place your heel in the mat and find your pyramid pose. Maybe bringing the hands down and lifting the back foot, or perhaps sorting yourself to your lunge however you like, belly in. Let's lift up to your lunge, crescent lunge. Lifting the back knee, coming into your side lunge, facing the long side of your mat. Into the middle, down into your yogi squat. Flat feet if you can. Back up and off to the other side. Side lunge. Spinning round. Low lunge. Finding your way back to pyramid. Back to triangle. Don't forget to turn that back foot out so you can pull that top hip up. And then all the way back up to goddess. And we're going to finish at the other end of the mat from where we started. Let's inhale there. Exhale one way. Inhale to the middle. Exhale the other way. Inhale back to the middle. And exhale, hands to heart. Okay, so I'm going to add a few more extra bits. Don't feel like you have to do them, but you're welcome to try them. And if you don't want to do them, maybe you hold the original sequence for a bit longer, or just don't be afraid to just work through your own thing, okay? Remember, everything's new at some point, and there really is no end goal for yoga, certainly not in what pretzel you can become. So please just enjoy having a little bit of time to explore, be creative, move with your breath, maybe try out some new shapes. Remember, if you don't know what it's called, it probably will have a name, but make a name up, it's fine. It's the nice thing about practicing on your own. Hopefully you don't feel any pressure from anyone else, okay? So let's go. Let's do a slightly more, I don't know what the right adjective to be is. A stronger one. Let's try a stronger one. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, lean to one side. Inhale through the middle. Exhale the other way. Inhale back to the middle. Lift one leg and step it out as you exhale to goddess. And in your goddess, perhaps you try picking up your heels. You could do one at a time or both together. Press the heels back down, adjust your feet for your triangle, and bring yourself down into your triangle. Okay, let's bring both hands down to frame the front foot, adjust the back one. Let's take a moment in our pyramid pose. And then we're going to try revolve triangle, twisted triangle. So bring the opposite hand to your front foot, either inside the front foot or across to the outside as you lift the other arm up, twisting your triangle. So remember, you can keep bends in the knees, you can use blocks. You don't have to have your hands on the floor. Good, bring your hands back to the middle, bend that front knee, and shift into your warrior three. Reach out through the back of your body. Don't worry about getting your body flat to the floor. Make sure as your body drops, your leg lifts. Good, start to bend the front knee and step the back foot back behind you for your lunge. You could bring your knee down or stay high as you inhale up with the arms. Crescent lunge. Opening out into your side lunge, whatever variation works for you. Lift back up to the middle. Maybe hopping the feet in, down to your Malasana. You can wiggle them. I just felt like a bounce. Maybe hopping back out wider and heading off to your other side lunge. Don't use momentum though to make up for real space. You can cause quite a lot of damage if you're not active in your muscles. So from our side lunge, we're going to spin into our crescent lunge. So you can drop that back knee if you like, or keep it lifted. Keep the belly on, pay attention to where your pelvis is. Lengthen through the spine rather than sinking down into the hips. From here, maybe finding a warrior three. And then carefully placing your back foot down so you can get it flat to the mat. Your feet are still on train tracks. Come and explore your twisted triangle. So obviously we're doing these poses in the opposite order. We're going to go back and do the same thing so the other side leads. Come back to your pyramid. Turn that back foot out to halfway as you open into your regular triangle. And bring yourself up into your goddess. And stepping to the top, inhaling up. Exhaling over, inhaling up, exhaling over, inhaling to the middle, exhale, hands to heart. So we're going to do the same sequence but backwards, and this time hopefully your other leg should lead, and so you'll bring a bit more balance around. Don't worry, you're not going to be walking around in circles after one class of not doing that, but it's good to practice. So off we go. Inhale up tall. Exhale lean. Inhale through the middle. And exhale the other way. Inhale through the middle. And as you exhale, step out wide, goddess pose. Pick up your heels. Press the heels down, adjust your feet for your triangle, and find your way there. So regular open triangle first. Coming down into pyramid, so frame that front foot, turn the back foot forwards, press the heel down, fold long over your front leg, and shift the intensity to the middle of your hamstring rather than the back of your knee or your bottom. Finding your twisted triangle, so bring your hand across either onto your shin or the floor, either side of your front foot, and then reach that arm up, twisting across the front leg. Come back to the middle, warrior three. Flexing the back foot, long straight line from head to heel, hinging at the hips, trying not to become an umbrella, trying not to fold with both head and leg down. Let's bend the front knee, step the back foot, Back behind you for your lunge. Feel free to bring the back knee down as you inhale up. With the hands, with the eyes, through the top of the head. Spin into your side lunge, facing the long edge of the mat. Lift up and maybe pop the feet in for your Malasana. Lift up and maybe hop the feet out for your other Skandasana, side lunge. Find your way round into your crescent, whatever it looks like for you. Back knee up or down, back bend or not, breathe. Shifting into Warrior Three. Back foot down carefully for your pyramid base, for your twisted triangle. Reaching opposite arm across the front leg and then lifting the other arm up tall. Coming down into your pyramid, keeping the feet on train tracks, long, long front leg, long, long spine. And turning that back foot to a half turn as you lift the opposite arm to the front leg up for your regular triangle. And then all the way up, back to Goddess. Heading to the short end of your mat where it all began. Inhale up, exhale over. Inhale up, exhale over. Inhale up, and exhale. Hands to heart. Alright, so if you've got any questions about anything, please let me know. If we were in person, I would usually say, like, do your own thing for a little bit, go back to some of those shapes we haven't done. You're welcome to do that, but maybe press pause, as I'm going to guide us through a little bit more now. Just going to have a drink. Let me check the chat. No questions so far. Okay, cool. So, let's keep with this hippie theme. And we're going to step out back to our wide straddle. And if you have blocks, bolsters, maybe if you're practicing near your sofa or your bed, maybe you go over towards that, because it can feel really nice sometimes to rest your arms or your head into something. And if the floor isn't an option, then you're kind of just hanging in the middle of nowhere, okay? So take your feet out and you're aiming for about wrist width. And then just double check your foot alignment. You either want your toes straight ahead or ever so slightly in. Let's bend the knees a little bit and just bring the elbows onto the knees. And just take a little rock here in that deep squat, but it's more than a squat now. It's starting to feel the internal rotation of the thighs. And I like to just gently rock here, starting to fold the hips up and fold the head forwards and down. You could do this with your hands on the floor or the bed or the sofa. But really feel that when your legs get straight, you don't shift everything backwards. And feel how the rotation in your thigh muscles pulls your legs straighter, okay? We want to be safe in these positions. The next time you find the top with your hips, wherever that is for you, let yourself sink forwards and down, maybe coming to rest your arms or your head on something. And really try and be forwards in your fold here. So try not to feel everything in your heels. Again, pay attention to where the stretch is in your hamstrings. Is it in your bum, in your knee, or is it in the middle of the back of your leg? Keep your thighs engaged. And breathe here. We're going to bring the hands down. Then we're going to bring one knee down. So maybe bend both knees and then adjust yourself. So one knee comes down. Bring yourself up and just wiggle that other leg out as straight as feels good for you. It doesn't have to be totally straight. Trying to get your toes to face forwards-ish and keeping the other hip on top of the bent knee. Okay, we'll take a gate pose. So we're going to slide the same arm as the long leg down it. Just don't press on your knee. Lift the other arm up. Breathe into this. Try and keep yourself open across the chest rather than rolling into that long leg. And then this top hand, we're going to bring down, and if you want to grab a block, you can, to outside the bent knee, and then reach the other arm long, pressing into the outstretched foot. And then from here, carefully, we've got a couple of options. You could sit just back onto your heel, so you're kind of in like a seated side lunge, I guess, and then maybe fold forwards. That feels kind of nice. Or you could adjust yourself more so that you've got that like figure four leg. I don't know if you can see with my bolster in the way. Or you've got the sole of your foot in the inner side, and then fold forwards. Okay, whichever one works for you. Find some time there. Breathe into it. And then bring yourself up. And rather than go all the way up, we'll just switch the knees. So bring the other knee down. Take the other leg out. Adjust as you need. And then slide your arm along your long leg, being careful not to put pressure on your knee. And reach the opposite arm up and over if you have space. Now bring that top hand down and reach the other arm forwards. Feel free to use blocks if you need. Sitting your hips back, either straight onto your heel or onto your bum, and adjusting your foot to more of a Janu, Sasana posture, or like a tree leg. Find what you need. And then bring yourself up. Walk yourself round to all fours. And just bringing your big toes together, either knees narrow or wide. Keep the hips on the heels, walk the hands out. Keep the arms active for a moment. And really feel that stretch through the arms, chest, armpits, shoulders, breathing into your back as the front of the body presses into the legs. And then let your arms relax, your head relax. Lots of places your arms can go, straight out in front, palms up, hands behind your head with either narrow elbows or wide elbows. Or take your arms around your legs and let your shoulders fall forwards. Pick one and stay for 5 more breaths. Bringing your hands back out in front. Let's come down onto our bellies for Cactus Twist. So find your way down. And stay in cactus if you like, or feel free to extend the arms out to a T or more of a Y shape if you want. Just try and keep them at shoulder height or above. So taking the arms out to cactus to begin. Let's bring the right hand in towards the body. So we're on the left cheek of the face, and then roll onto your left hip. Maybe you keep your right knee in the mat, or maybe you take your right leg on top of your left, or even over behind. We want to try and keep the head resting down and the left shoulder in the mat. So feel free to extend your arm. Just try not to let it come down into the body. Breathe. Bring yourself back through the middle. Take a moment to reset. And then let's go the other way. So resting on the right cheek of your face, bring your left hand in to support you as you roll onto your right hip. Maybe leaving the left knee in the mat. Maybe bringing left leg on top of right. Or all the way over behind. Explore extending the arm, seeing how it changes things. And bring yourself back to the middle. Just taking a moment with your hands stacked on top of each other, elbows out to the side, resting your forehead on your hands. Give the hips a little wobble. And then you could keep this arm and head set up, or change it if you like. Maybe bring a cushion under your chest, under your head. Let's slide the right knee out to the side so it comes level with the right hip. Flex your right foot, and coming into half frog. So we've got like right angles in the right leg, left hips in the mat. You can keep your gaze to the right, or for a subtle extra twist, maybe turn your head to face the left. Bringing yourself back to center. Realigning your neck and bringing both legs straight, giving the hips a wobble. And then sliding the left knee out to the side, left foot turns out, finding those right angles. Trying to keep the right hip in the mat. And maybe turning to face the right. And then resetting yourself back to the middle. And if it feels good, you can just roll straight onto your back. Otherwise, feel free to find any extra bits and pieces you might need on your way there. Just grab any props you might want for your Shavasana. We're just going to take one more twist each way. So bringing the knees in for a hug. Keeping hold of the right one as you take the left leg long, holding right leg with left hand, taking the right arm out wide to the side and twist across to the left. Try and keep the right shoulder in the mat and breathe into it. Bring yourself back to the middle. Knees in. And keeping hold of the left one as the right leg goes long. And twist yourself across to the right. Trying to keep the left shoulder down. Breathe into it. And then bringing yourself back to the middle. Finding any last little bits and pieces you need before settling down into your Shavasana. Maybe adding some extra layers. Socks are always a winner for Shavasana. Grab some props. Your pet. Whoever you've got nearby. Get yourself comfortable. Now usually we practice these on the full moon, and the full moon is meant to be a time for noticing what we've accomplished in the 2 weeks previous, and then letting go. Letting go of anything we haven't done yet, as we allow ourselves to wind down towards the new moon. And the new moon, which has just passed, is all about setting intentions and using the building energy of the moonlight. So each night the moon gets a little bigger, a little brighter, using that to work towards whatever it is we were hoping for, ready to release again at full moon. And whether you want to follow the moon or not, the moon shines every night, whether you can see it, whatever phase she's in, she's shining somewhere. Pretty powerful thing, controls the oceans on the planet. I like to think that as we are quite a high percentage seawater, the moon must have some effect on us. Whatever you're into, just use the next few minutes in stillness to set an intention for the next 2 weeks. And remember, the best way to set these intentions is to see them as actually happening, happened. Use kind, supportive words, talking about possibilities and potential and belief, rather than having to or must or the words the media use. As you feel your body soften and settle down into whatever's beneath you, bring your attention to your breath, taking a moment to really appreciate it, bringing in what you need, taking out what you don't, returning to its natural rhythm. As your body and your breath settle, invite your mind to join, becoming an observer without reaction. allowing any thoughts or distractions to come and go without following, without fixing, as you let yourself rest. You did the best you could today, and that is always enough. As you feel softness start to spread through the toes, feet, ankles, legs heavy, knees, bottom, hips, relax. All the way up your spine, your whole back, shoulders melting down. Your belly soft, and your chest open. The length of your arms, relaxing, releasing your elbows, wrists, hands, fingers. Your neck and your throat free, letting go of your jaw, lips, teeth, tongue, and your whole face soft. Cheeks, eyes, forehead, the back of your head, your whole body, soft, heavy, and relaxed, as you bring your attention in. Either resting at the space between your eyebrows or in heart center. Gently starting to bring your attention back to your breath. Feeling that cool inhale fill you up, new space, new energy. And that warm exhale carrying away anything that no longer serves you. As you feel each breath, bring a little more energy in. Feel it start to build, start to spread. Down the arms to the fingers, down the legs to the toes. Finding a little wiggle. And a little bit more. As you reconnect your mind and your body with your breath. Shifting your attention, bringing back movement. Piece by piece. Toes to nose. Maybe stretching all the way out. Tucking all the way in. And then giving yourself a big hug. And say thank you to you for this time today. Time to explore, time to connect. Facing challenges with courage, kindness, playfulness and patience. And taking all of that with you along with the peace and calm that you've created into the rest of your evening, into the weekend. Keeping your eyes closed if you can, carefully coming up to a comfortable seat. Once you're there, just rolling the head side to side, stretching out your neck. And back to the middle. Next inhale, shoulders to ears. Exhale, drop. 2 more. And bringing your hands to prayer at your heart. Just taking a moment to remind yourself of your intention. And then using this strong positive energy from your practice to seal it in. If you'd like to join me in and on to close, you're very welcome. Inhaling. Bringing prayer to your forehead. Always think good thoughts. Your prayer to your lips. Always speak good words, especially to yourself. And returning your hands to your heart. Always do good things. Opening your eyes. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember you can keep in contact with the addresses on the screen. I'd love to hear from you. Namaste.